While buying a Tesla doesn't require you to make too many decisions when configuring your car, one dilemma many buyers face is whether they want to shell out another $1,000 for white interiors. Of course, white car seats have their pros and cons, yet there's no denying there's a curb appeal that they do provide for a Model 3. For the folks out there who want white seats but don't want to spend $1,000 more, Amazon's got you covered, and we have you covered. This is Alex, and you are now entering the Hypnotics. Last year, I came across these leather car seats on Amazon for the Tesla Model 3, and the pictures looked quite convincing that I actually purchased. I pulled the trigger and bought it. I certainly had to double take to confirm whether they were manufacturer seats from the photos. But when I think of car seat covers, I can't help but recall the unfortunate trends of the 1980s and the 90s with the baggy, unstylish, pimp my ride vibes plastered over what otherwise were perfectly normal seats. It was a welcome surprise to see how perfectly tailored these Model 3 covers were. You seriously could mistake these for actual Tesla factory seats from a distance. Even close up, though, they fare pretty well in the aesthetic and quality department. This particular set we bought comes from a seller on Amazon called Zippo. They have 11 pieces that include the front seats, the back seats, and the back door side area. And installing these covers onto your seat cover does not interfere with the airbag, nor should it interfere with your heated seats, though they do feel a little bit less warm, but you still feel it nonetheless. Don't expect the leather here to be extremely high quality, though. You are buying a Chinese product for $250 after all. With that said, though, the leather is a bit coarse, but not enough to make your skin uncomfortable. One thing I can't avoid talking about, though, is how ridiculously tedious these things were to put on. Granted, my handiness level is essentially non-existent in the first place, but I've read plenty of other reviews on Amazon that gave owners the same headache I experienced. It makes sense that these would be snug fit in order to appear like they were default college seats after all. That requires more precise installation than just slipping over a loose piece of cloth or leather. The thing is, these covers took me 4 hours to install. Oh, and it took me multiple attempts before finally getting them to look remotely like what the picture looks like. YouTube is your friend, and even though it's a tall task, once you get them on correctly, they hold up remarkably well for a Chinese-made product. I've had these on my Model 3 for nearly a year now for everyday commuting and all that stuff, and there are barely any scuffs or marks on it, so I'm pretty impressed with the build quality at least. If you're one for constantly lowering the rear seats for additional boot storage, though, these covers might not be up your alley. The center armrest and cup holder slot is hidden by a zipper and needs to be unzipped. I found ways around this to fold the seats down, but the split is lost without the zipper. Another piece that is lost in my experience with these seat covers are the back door side covers. While they weren't as difficult to install as the seat covers themselves, Tesla actually removed my side covers during a maintenance visit and recommended I not reinstall those for various reasons, so I haven't had them back on. But I will say it looks fine without them. I will say that for $250, this was well worth it for me. Even if I didn't install it perfectly, I saved $800 for white seats on the Model 3, and I even mentioned in my full review of the Model 3 that I wasn't a huge fan of Tesla's vegan leather in the first place. They were quite prone to damage and stains, and this really was the perfect solution. Sometimes I do just stand outside and admire how similar these look to the real thing.
So the other day, I was on a Zoom call at work, and I just dropped everything I was saying, and I told them, subscribe.